Good morning, everyone. We are going to start something new today. We are, well, new to us this year, not new to you per se. We are going to start doing daily paragraph editing, and we did this last year, so it should look familiar. And if it doesn't look familiar, that's okay because I'm going to walk you through the whole process. So this is something we're going to do each day. It should only take you about 5 minutes to complete, and you'll submit it directly through the classroom. So I'm logged in as a student right now. So I'm going to go to my classroom and go to language arts. And you'll have a new post each morning that says daily paragraph editing week, whatever week it is, and whatever day it is. Now mine says practice here, and that's just so I can record the video, but yours won't say practice. And it says, watch the video from Mrs. Lucht on how to complete the daily paragraph editing. A copy has been made for you. Once you complete the editing activity, be sure to turn it in here. So you'll come back once you're finished editing and you will click turn in. Okay, so I'm going to click over here where it says your work because this is where your copy is. All right, so this should look pretty familiar. So there's a paragraph, and then over here on the right, these are all of our errors for today. So we have 4 capitalization, we have 1 apostrophe, we have 5 commas, 2 periods, 3 other punctuation, and a spelling error. All right, so the question is, how are we going to make this work? How are we going to show that we can do these changes? Well, if you have a touch screen and you have a stylus, you can draw directly on the editing. If you don't, I'm going to show you how to use symbols to do the editing pieces. And I'm going to go through one piece of the editing for like some of the different errors. Okay, so let's start with capitalization. Well, when we have to capitalize something, we have to make it bigger, right? So I'm going to come right here where it says shape, and I'm going to do an arrow, and I'm going to do an up arrow. So I'm going to right over here, I'm going to put a little up arrow, and that's going to be my symbol for capitalizing something. An apostrophe, I'm just going to do a scribble, and when there's an apostrophe, I'm just going to put a little apostrophe sign in there. Okay, for a comma, I'm gonna do this little guy right here. So in arrows, I'm gonna do this little arrow because it kind of looks like a comma, even though it's a small one. And then that kind of gives me that little arrow, that little comma, and it'll be different than the apostrophe. For the circle, I'm going to go in here to shapes, and I'm going to do a traditional circle, but then I'm going to fill that circle because here, once I do the shape, I can change the color, I can fill it. So I'm going to fill it. I'm going to do everything in blue today. So one thing I'm going to show you how to do. So see, I changed my circle to blue. Other punctuation, I'm going to use the scribble tool for because that could be a question mark. It could be, I'll just tell you for this one, it's inserting question marks. So I would use the scribble for that. Or I could see if I have a shape for a question mark. So let's take a look. Do I have any question mark shapes? It doesn't quite look like it. As long as there's some equations. As long as your shape, whatever you choose to use to represent that editing mark, as long as you put it over here for the punctuation or for whatever it is, as long as you make me a key, I'm going to be able to give you credit for that. I'm going to click on this real quick. When you make your shape and then it is marked with your blue box around, you can then change the color of it. And today I'm going to use blue because I want to make sure that all of my editing pieces are standing out. And you can also change like the thickness of the line. So I'm doing that a little bit here because I need to make sure that everything stands out. Okay. I'm also, it's not giving me the option to do a symbol. I could do a word art piece though and just do a question mark. And there we go. I can use that for word art. And I'm going to change it to the blue because I know that the punctuation, the other punctuation on this is going to be a question mark. And the spelling, you're going to draw a line through and then you can just do a text box on top and I will show you how to do that one. Okay, so I'm just going to show you an example of how to do a couple of the editing pieces. Now that I have my punctuation key out to the side, and yes, you need to put your key out to the side over here so that I know what symbols you are using. Otherwise, I'm not going to know what symbols you're using as you're editing marks. Okay, so once I have my symbols chosen, you're going to read your paragraph twice, and I want you to read it the first time out loud, and then the second time through, you're going to read it, you can read it more in your head to do the editing. So I'm going to start there, and don't forget the title because there could be an error in the title. So, a sticky business. Did you know that the chewing gum industry is more than just a sticky business? It also earns millions of dollars. The United States produces about 24 million miles of chewing gum each year. Gum is available in different varieties, flavors, and shapes. But did you ever wonder where gum comes from? Did you ever wonder how it's made and where and when the first people began to chew it? People have been chewing gum, it turns out, for a very long time. Okay, so the reason that we read it out loud is to hear where the pauses might be. So I'm going to first start with a capitalization error. So as I'm reading through, did you know that the chewing gum industry is more than just a sticky business? Well, I hear a pause there. So I know that it needs to be capitalized. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to click on the symbol I have and see how it highlights it. And then I'm going to hit Control C and then Control V. And it just made another one. And then I can move that symbol right over there. And so now it tells me that I capitalized it. Okay, so you don't have to keep resizing and inserting. Once you have your symbols, you can copy and paste them. So that's an example of a capitalization. Now I only have 3 capitalization left. Let's do a comma. So I'm going to hit Control C, Control V, so that gives me another comma to move. And I'm going to look for where I might put a comma. Well, here, it's available in different varieties, flavors, and shapes. Well, that's a series of adjectives. So I know that when I have a series, I'm going to insert commas. So I'm going to put it here. Whoop, there we go. Come on. You want to behave. There we go. Let's see. Flavors. Let's see. Yep. All right. So there's my first comma that I've inserted. So now I have 4 more commas to do. Let's do one period. So I'm going to copy this one. Control C, Control V. There's my period. I know that at the very end of my sentence, I need a period. Whew. Sometimes it's going to be a little wonky and it's going to want to move things that you don't want it to move, and that's okay. All right. So just be patient with it. You'll get the hang of it. Oh, don't make it bigger. We aren't trying to do that. I just want to move it. Oh, oh, oh. Come on. It's being tricksy. There we go. Okay. Move that here, and I know I need a period at the end. So there's my period at the end. All right, other punctuation. I know I'm going to need a question mark. I'm going to make this guy a little bit smaller. Maybe not that small. I'm going to make him a little bit smaller. Control C, Control V. And so I told you that your other punctuation this time is going to be question marks. Well, I know that right here, when I paused this, when I read it, Did triggers me to know that this is a question. So did you know that the chewing gum industry is more than just a sticky business? So I'm putting a question mark in there. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but I do need to know where you're putting it. Okay, the spelling error, I will go ahead and show you how to do. So the spelling error is actually right here with where. So this where is like wearing clothes. I want where as in where something is. So I'm going to click right here and I'm going to draw a line. And I'm going to draw it through where. Okay, now once that line is made, see how it's highlighted blue? I'm going to come up here, I'm going to make it thicker. So I'm going to click 3 and then I'm going to change its color. I'm going to change it to blue. And then, okay, so I'm done with that. So I know that where is wrong. I'm going to insert a text box right above it. Okay, and I'm going to type in the correct form of where. And I'm going to change my font. I don't need it big, so I'm going to change it to 10. I'm going to change it to blue. So where we need W-H-E-R-E. Now, you can't see that very well. So let's move it. So if we make our box a little bigger and then move it up, there we go. And I'm going to make that W lowercase because we don't need it capitalized. So that's how you would do a spelling error. Okay. Now you're going to go through and you're going to do all the rest of the errors. Okay. So this one today is going to be worth 4, 5, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 points. Now let's say you put a period in the wrong spot. Well, that's only 1 point off. So it's not gonna double up points if you put something in the wrong spot. These are the only errors you're using. So you wanna make sure that you have all of those, okay? So you're gonna finish the other errors on your own piece, on your own work slide, and then when you're done, okay, so let's say I'm all done. I'm going to go back to my Google Classroom because remember this automatically saves. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my Google Classroom and I'm going to click Turn In. And then you're going to click Turn In again and your slide for that day is submitted. And that's all you have to do. Okay, all right, good luck.